Hi everyone, we are from Group 1. We will explain to you about kind of text in discourse analysis. Enjoy your time.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Here I'm ANNAHAR. I want to tell you about the written in the discourse analysis. What is discourse analysis? It is concerned with the study of the relationship between language and the context in which it is used. So you can find the discourse analysis in the written form in the magazine, books, or newspaper and the book. Next. And we know that the written in the discourse analysis it has the four of the types. In the first is it is reference. It called as reference because in the information is signal for retrieving in the referential meaning. Here the speaker refers by using vocabulary to refer something with appropriate expression. References divide on endophora and anaphora, and we have studied in the semester before it about the reference. For the example, it is, he is my brother. He is a wise person who got a medal. Actually, some always helped me fix my school assignment. The speaker used he to the initial of the his brother. It called by reference. The second is presupposition. What is presupposition? It is defined in terms of assumption the speaker makes about what the hearer is likely to accept without challenge, and it means accepting something without challenge is defined through the term of assumption. Presupposition is the common ground of the participants in the conversation. For the example, sentence E. My sister is driving from Ponorogo. B. My sister is not driving from Ponorogo. C. I have a sister. So, the sentence B is unnecessary because it includes the word of not driving. And the sentence B is presupposition of the speaker in uttering sentence E because the sentence E is about the sister is driving from Ponorogo. So, it makes sure in the sentence C that the speaker have a sister. The third is implicator. Implicator, we know that is accounted for what a speaker can imply, suggest, or mean as distinct from what the speaker literally says. It has two types. First, conventional. It's about the determined by the conventional meaning. For the example, he is an Englishman, so it is a brave people. That we know that the people of the English is always brave. That this thinking is still stand till now. That if we know the people from English, so we will think that the people is brave. The second is conversational implicator. It has four of the types. The first is quantity. The quantity, for the example, is John doesn't eat all of the cake, so it written about the quantity. The second is quality. The example, I believe he eaten my cake because the CCTV was record it. This written says about quality of something. And you say the quality because you believe and you have the proof to say that. The third is relation. The relation, for the example, is this cake is delicious. I say this cake is delicious, so it means that I like this cake. So the written has relation. And for the last is manner. For the example, the boy can jump between two rocks. So it means that the boy have practiced before he do the jump. Yes, I mean that. And then the last for the written in the discourse analysis is about interference. Interference is about the process is used to arrive at an interpretation for utterances or for the connection between utterances. For the example, in the kitchen, there was a hook dresser, and when anyone went in, you see in the hats and coats were all dumped on this dresser. The interference are the hats and coats belong to the visitors to the house. The house has the dresser. The dresser is in the kitchen. So it same with the minute. If I have said that I will go to school if it doesn't rain. So the interference is I will go to school if the sun is bright, or I will don't go to school if the rain is down. Okay, I think that's all. And for the next material is about the spoken in the discourse analysis that will be present of Mrs. Eka. Of Miss Eka, sorry.
Okay, my name is Sholekah from TBI C. So now I will explain you about spoken language or text. Spoken language is a vast subject and little is known as statistical term of the distribution of different types of speech in people's everyday lives. Spoken language is a vast subject that means different with spoken in the conversation, in the daily conversation. In the spoken language, we just talk about one context, but different with spoken daily conversation is that we can talk about everything. The characteristic of spoken language are text. The first, the syntax of spoken English is much less struktural. Jadi spoken language mengandung banyak kalimat yang tidak lengkap. Contoh, okay, so that will do, blah blah blah. Padahal di sentence we can steal many words and have to explain it. The second, in spoken language, the chunks of utterances are connected by and, but, then, and more rarely. So the third, it is rare in spoken language to find more than two pre-modifying adjectives, and there is a strong tendency to structure the short chunk of speech so that only one predicate is attached to a given referent at times, as in it is Piggy's cat TB with tortoise ears. The fourth, the use of passive is not found in speech. Instead, active conjunction within the 10-minute group against are noticeable in spoken language, as in oh yeah everything. They do in ending pro. They do it for so slowly. So fifth, in chat about the immediate environment, the speaker may rely on, for example, gets direction to supply reference. Six, in spoken language or text, the speaker typically use a lot of further generalized. Example, gets direction to supply reference. So, seven, the speaker may replace or refine expression as he or she goes along. Example, this man and blah blah blah. So, in spoken language, the speaker typically use a lot of further generalized vocabulary. Example, a lot of thing, good, nice, do, stuff, and place. 9. In spoken language, the speaker frequently repeat the same synthetic form several times over that this repetition and hesitation being involved with the spoken. Then the speaker may produce a large number of prefabricated fillers such as well, I think, you know, of course, and soon. So, 11. The speaker tries to establish and maintains a relationship with the listener. 12. In spoken language or text, there is a kind of approximate between the speaker and the listener. 13. Spoken language is less dense for the purpose of enabling the listener to understand the information or message easily. 13. Spoken language or text is less dense for the purpose of enabling the listener to understand the information or message easily. 14. Spoken language takes no visual form. 19. Spoken language occurs in some contexts of situation and face direct reaction of the listener. Maybe enough. So the next will be explained by BINTANA.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, my name is BINTANA alias ZANOUBIA, and I'm from the first group of Discourse Analysis. Here I would like to explain a little bit about the differences between written and spoken language or text. Well, for the first is spoken. Spoken language is the primary form of linguistic communication, so people are more often use spoken text or language than use written text or language in their daily conversation. Then, written language is the secondary medium of communication, so written text or language is used after spoken language. Jadi, spoken language itu merupakan bentuk pertama dalam komunikasi. Orang-orang itu sering menggunakan spoken daripada written dalam berkomunikasi setiap harinya. And then, spoken language is audible and temporary, different with written. Written language is visible, written or printed and hence more permanent than spoken language. Jadi spoken language itu dapat didengar dan sifatnya sementara. Berbeda dengan written. Written itu dapat dilihat, biasanya berbentuk cetak dan sifatnya lebih permanen dibandingkan spoken language. And then, spoken language is primarily interactional, then written language is primarily transactional. Jadi spoken language itu identik dengan interaksi, berbeda dengan written. Written itu identik dengan transaksi. And then, spoken language is not usually packed with information, then written language is usually packed with fact. Jadi, spoken language itu tidak selalu disertai dengan informasi. Namun, written language itu biasanya disertai dengan fakta-fakta. And then, in spoken language, a speaker's voice, rhythm, intonation, and many others are necessary features for the understanding of the speech. Then, in written, punctuation, word, and sentence order are important for understanding of a written text. Jadi dalam spoken, suara, pembicara, ritme, intonasi, tinggi rendahnya nada itu diperlukan dalam memahami pembicaraan. Nah, dibandingkan dengan written, dalam written itu tanda hubung, penggunaan, pemilihan kata, dan susunan kalimat itu sangat penting dalam memahami written text. And the next, spoken language has a loose syntactic structure, then written language is usually richly organized. Jadi, di sini perbedaannya adalah written text itu lebih terorganisir sintaktik strukturnya dibandingkan dengan spoken language. And then next, spoken language is essentially dialect in nature, then written language is essentially monologue in nature. Jadi spoken itu secara natural itu dialog ya. Nah, berbeda dengan written itu secara natural itu dia itu monolog. Then spoken language is typically created by two or more people. Then written language is typically created by one person. Jadi karena spoken itu dialog, jadi biasanya dibuat oleh dua orang atau lebih. Berbeda dengan written itu kan monolog, jadi biasanya dibuat oleh satu orang. And then, in spoken, the speaker may suffer for the disadvantage of exposing his or her own feelings, emotions. Spoken language cannot express emotions, sentiments, and feelings because the listener can show direct and immediate reaction. Jadi dalam spoken language, the speaker itu tidak bisa mengekspresikan secara langsung emosi mereka, sentimen, perasaan mereka. Karena apa? Karena listener dapat menunjukkan secara langsung dan tiba-tiba reaksi mereka. Berbeda halnya dengan written. The reader can easily manipulate words and expression in a way we can express our feelings, ideas, emotions, sentiments, and so forth more fully in written language because the reader cannot show direct and immediate reaction. Ya, jadi berbeda halnya dengan written. Kalau di written itu penulis dapat manipulasi kata dan dapat mengekspresikan perasaan mereka, ide, emosi mereka dengan bebas. Karena apa? Karena pembaca itu tidak dapat menunjukkan secara langsung reaksi mereka. And then next, spoken language is generally spontaneously created. Then written language is generally drafted and edited. Jadi kalau spoken language itu kita kan ngomong itu secara spontanitas ya. Berbeda halnya dengan written. Kalau written itu kan biasanya di draft dulu, diedit dulu seperti itu. And then, in spoken language, the interpersonal aspects of language are typically foregrounded. Different with written, in written language, the topic of the discourse is typically foregrounded. Jadi kalau dalam spoken itu yang mendasari itu adalah interpersonal, pribadi orang di speakernya itu. Berbeda halnya dengan written, kalau written itu yang mendasari, yang penting itu adalah topiknya. Seperti itu. And then here my work sites. So thanks. I hope you can understand what I have been right here. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, how's your life? I hope you are fine. Okay, I would like to continue our material of the day. It is about written and spoken discourse. Because the meaning of written and spoken has been explained by Dio and Eka, so I will start my presentation from the meaning of discourse. So, what is discourse? Okay. According to Wilson, discourse is a communicative process by means of interaction. This definition is very simple. It can be understood to say that discourse is a process of communication. In other words, there should be something to be communicated, and there should also be the giver or sender and the receiver of that particular thing, and there should be an interaction between the sender and the receiver. From the definition, we can see that discourse might be in the form of spoken communication or written communication. So I will explain to you about differences or distinction between written and spoken discourse. Okay. Spoken and written discourse differ for many reasons, and it is general differences between written and spoken discourse. It will be 7 points in here, so I will explain one by one. Will be 7 points in here, so I will be explained one by one. From the grammatical integrity, written discourse is more structurally and complex and more elaborate than spoken discourse. In other words, sentences in spoken discourse are short and simple, whereas they are longer and more complex in written discourse. In spoken discourse, clauses are long and spread out, so spoken discourse can be grammatically intricate as well. Next, the second point is lexical density. It refers to the ratio of context words, grammatical or function words within a clause. Spoken discourse is less lexically dense than written discourse. Next, the third point is nominalization. It refers to presenting action and events as nouns rather than as verbs. Written discourse has a high level of nominalization, and written discourse tends to have longer noun groups than spoken discourse, but sometimes spoken discourse may exhibit a higher level of nominalization, such as in lectures and debates. Okay, next. The fourth point is explicitness. Reading is more explicit than speech because in written discourse we lack body language and gestures. Okay, next. The fifth point is contextualization. It refers to the extent knowledge of context is needed to interpret a text. Writing is more recontextualized than speech, while speech is more attached to context than writing because speech depends on a shared situation and background for interpretation. This may be true of conversation, but not in all types of spoken discourse. Some types of written discourse may show high dependence on shared contextual knowledge, example in personal letters between friends. Okay, next, the sixth point is spontaneity. Spoken discourse lacks organization and is ungrammatical because it is spontaneous, whereas written discourse is organized and grammatical. Spoken discourse contains more uncompleted or fragments and reverberated sentences, and the topics can be changed in the middle, and speakers may overlap and interpret each other. Okay, the last point is repetition, hesitation, and redundancy. Spoken discourse contains more repetition, hesitation, and redundancy because it is produced in real time. Spoken discourse has many pauses and filters such as ha 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 or and you know, so that speakers give themselves time to think about what they want to say. Okay, I think enough for my explanation about differences between written and spoken discourse, and thank you for your attention and have a nice day for you all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.